Please turn to page 251 for the Learn Your Name chapter. One of the first words most children learn to read and write are their names. Not only does this create a personal connection to print, but it also teaches students basic concepts of print. Identifying that letters need to be in a specific order to make a word, realizing that letters need to be snuggled together, as well as there's capitals and lowercase letters and they have special jobs, and also just the fact that when I say a word, it has sounds and the letters represent those sounds. I included this chapter in this book as an isolated activity so that your students, if they don't know their names, you can provide them with this instruction. So this isn't part of the regular reading group time. I would highly suggest that you have this as a separate 15-minute period every day that you work with students doing these activities to learn how to read their name. On the first page of the chapter, 252, is the Build and Write Your Name. The Build and Write Your Name is a cute little tool that your students will use, build their name with cut-up letters, and then write their name on tracing paper. To make this name tool, what you need is one long sentence strip, tracing paper that you would cut so that it fits halfway through the sentence strip, staple it, then fold it in half, write the child's name on the front, and on the back, put a small envelope with the child's name in cut-up letters. All you need to do is hand them their name writing strip and they're ready to practice building with the letters on the back as well as tracing their name repeatedly. On the bottom of page 252 are the directions of how to make this tool. On page 253, here's the example of what you would do in your reading group. First, students will take out their cut-up letters. Make sure that the sentence strip with their name on it is on the table for them to use while they build their name underneath. This is always available for students to use as a reference. When you think they can build their name without looking, then have them turn it over and try to build their name on their own. But at first, you want them to always build their name correctly, so you want their name there as a reference. One other challenge that you may have is notice this student's name is Michael. Every letter in their name is cut into its own individual letter box. If you have students where this may be too difficult for them because there are so many letters, then divide their name up into bigger chunks. So maybe you might cut the M and I together, the CH, and then keep the AEL together. And they would build their name just in those three chunks. As they can build that successfully, then maybe cut up the M and I into smaller chunks. Continue that until they can build their name with all the letters separated and do this independently on their own. After students build their name repeatedly, so they build their name, they put their finger under their name and read it, Michael, very quickly. Have them mix up their letters again and build it. This is a wonderful activity for them to first see all the letters in their name, see the order they go into, and also to snuggle those letters together, and to quickly do it repeatedly over and over. Because when you have students write their name, that takes more time and you don't get as much practice. Once students have built their name, the next activity is for them to trace their name. When they trace their name, all you need to do is lift the tracing paper. After lifting the flap, then the student would trace their name. And as you can see, this name has already been traced on the tracing paper. I highly suggest that you have students repeatedly trace their name on the same tracing paper. The reason why I have this in a flap is that you can rip it off and students can take that home, and then tomorrow they'll have a blank piece of paper to trace on again. This activity has provided students with building their name as well as tracing and writing their name. Let's go to the next 2 pages where we'll have students repeatedly read their name on name boards. The last 2 activities are to provide students with many repetitions to read their names on specialized boards. On page 254 is the name and picture board. Notice there are blank lines on the page. This is what you would reproduce, and then you would make this into a specialized name board because you need to write the child's name on those lines. So this board is only for, in this case, Peter to use to help him read his name repeatedly. Many children, they may realize, oh, my name is the only word on this page, and they may not even look at it and just go Peter, 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 and look all over the place. What I need for children to do is to repeatedly practice their name so that they can quickly identify it. And that means that they need to look at it and read it over and over again. But they don't know any other words. They're just learning their name. This is the first word they're learning. So what did I do? I added pictures. When Peter gets this page in a small group, he will touch the words and pictures one to one and go left to right, saying his name, Peter, mustache, Peter, mermaid, just like that. And notice he has to do the return sweep where he will have cupcake, Peter, skateboard, Peter. He is looking at each word, touching it one to one, going left to right, and doing the return sweep so that he can go to the next line. This activity provides all those beginning reading skills, but also provides him with reading his name many times over and over and over again, so that after a while, he will just be able to see his name and read it as fast as a snap. On page 255 is the name and the board. At this point, a student who needs to learn their name will be in the red group, and the first sight word that they learn in the red group is the word the. So what I do when I'm working with them separately on their name in a separate activity, after giving them their name with the pictures on the page, if they've been working on the word the in their reading group, then I reproduce this specialized board with the word the on it and the blank lines. And in this case, if this was Peter's board, I would write Peter on all the blank lines. And now Peter will practice the word the that he has been learning along with his name. In this case, Peter is going to repeatedly see both of these words, have to identify each word, so he has to carefully look at each one, and again practice one to one, left to right, and return sweep. So he would look at the word, the, Peter, just like that. The black line masters for both of these boards are on pages 256 and 257. In this chapter, I provided you with tools where students would learn their name by building it, tracing it, and reading it, as well as the word the, as fast as a snap.